The world's largest island, frozen beneath a blanket of ice, has suddenly become the center of a global power struggle. Greenland, home to just 56,000 people, is now the prize of nations. In 2026, the United States openly claimed it needs Greenland, even hinting at military action. Why would the richest, most powerful country on Earth risk war for an ice-covered land? The answer is hidden in World War II airfields, trillions in rare minerals, secret Arctic shipping routes, and next-generation missile defense systems. This is not just geography, it's strategy, survival, and a story that could change the balance of power forever. First, let's understand what Greenland actually is. Greenland is massive. It's 836,000 square miles. That's bigger than Alaska, Texas, and California combined. It's the world's least densely populated country with only 56,000 people living there. Here's the interesting part. Greenland isn't an independent country. It belongs to Denmark. Denmark colonized Greenland over 300 years ago, back in 1721.
Let's see the history of Greenland. Greenland was first settled by Arctic peoples thousands of years ago, who were the ancestors of today's Inuit and learned how to survive in the cold by hunting and fishing. In 982 AD, a Viking explorer from Iceland named Eric the Red reached Greenland and named it Greenland to attract settlers. The Norse lived there for several centuries, but by the 1400s their settlements disappeared because of colder climate during the Little Ice Age, isolation, and economic problems. After the Norse left, Inuit communities became the main inhabitants of Greenland. Later, European explorers rediscovered Greenland while searching for new trade routes, but permanent European settlement did not begin again until 1721, when Denmark started colonizing the island and Greenland became a Danish colony, which strongly influenced Inuit culture. During World War II, in April 1940, Nazi Germany occupied Denmark, leaving Greenland isolated and unable to be defended.
The United States and its allies feared that Germany might use Greenland as a military base or control important North Atlantic shipping routes, since Greenland's location between North America and Europe was very strategic. In 1941, Greenland's Danish governor Henrik Kaufmann signed an agreement with the United States that allowed the USA to defend Greenland and build airfields and military bases, while Greenland remained Danish territory. After the war, Greenland continued under Denmark, becoming an official part of the Kingdom of Denmark in 1953. In 1979, Greenland was granted home rule, and in 2009. Today, Greenland is what's called a semi-autonomous territory. This means Greenland controls most of its own internal affairs, like schools, police, and local laws. But Denmark still controls three big things: foreign policy, defense, and money. Almost 90% of Greenland's population is Inuit, the indigenous Arctic people who've lived there for thousands of years. The capital city is Nuuk, where you'll see brightly colored houses crowded together between mountains and the ocean. Here's something wild. No individual can own land in Greenland. All land belongs to the people collectively. This makes Trump's talk about buying Greenland extra insulting to Greenlanders. And get this, 81% of Greenland is covered in ice. Only the coastal areas are livable. There are almost no roads connecting the towns, so people travel by boat, helicopter, and plane. Greenland receives an annual subsidy from Denmark that pays for schools, cheap gas, and strong social services. Without Denmark's money, Greenland would struggle financially. So why does America care about Greenland? This relationship goes back to World War II. I already discussed in April 1940, Nazi Germany invaded and occupied Denmark. Suddenly, Greenland was cut off. Denmark couldn't defend it or supply it anymore. The United States was terrified. If Germany took over Greenland and plus, Greenland had something America desperately needed: cryolite. This is a rare mineral that's essential for making aluminum, and aluminum was crucial for building warplanes. So in 1941, a Danish governor in Greenland signed an agreement with the United States allowing American forces to defend Greenland and build military bases there. The U.S. built airfields and stationed up to 6,000 troops across the island. After the war ended, Greenland was returned to Denmark, but America kept some military presence. In 1946, President Harry Truman actually tried to buy Greenland. He offered Denmark $100 million in gold. That's equal to about $1.7 billion today. Denmark said no. Then in 1951, the U.S. and Denmark signed a defense agreement. This treaty is still active today. It gives America the right to operate military bases in Greenland, control airspace, and station troops there. Currently, about 150 U.S. service members are stationed at Pituffik Space Base in northwest Greenland. During the Cold War, this base was crucial for watching Russian submarines and monitoring for missile attacks. Now let's get to the heart of the matter. Why does Trump want Greenland so badly? There are four major reasons. Fourth one is more dominating. Must listen to it. Reason one, strategic military location. Greenland sits in the North Atlantic Ocean, roughly halfway between North America and Europe. It acts like a bridge between the continents. Fighter planes and transport aircraft cannot fly nonstop from the USA to Europe at this time. Greenland can be used as a stepping stone for refueling and navigation. Whoever controls Greenland can control transatlantic air travel. Greenland sits on something called the Geuke Gap. This is a naval choke point between Greenland, Iceland, and the UK. It connects the Arctic Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. During the Cold War, this gap was critical for tracking Russian submarines. Today, it's still just as important. Trump claims Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. This is actually false. There aren't Russian and Chinese warships surrounding Greenland, but both countries are increasing their military activity in the Arctic. So Trump doesn't actually need to own Greenland for military reasons, but he wants full ownership anyway. Reason two, rare earth minerals and natural resources. Greenland is sitting on a fortune. The island has massive reserves of oil, natural gas, rare earth minerals. Rare earth minerals are special materials needed to make modern technology like electric car batteries, wind turbines, smartphones, military equipment. Right now, China dominates the rare earth market. China has used this monopoly to pressure the United States politically. Republican senators held a hearing last year called Greenland's Geostrategic Importance, and they specifically talked about these rare earth minerals. Vice President J.D. Vance has talked about Greenland's incredible natural resources. One analyst named Clayton Allen said, Greenland is sitting on some of the most valuable real estate in terms of economic advantage and strategic defense for the next 3 to 5 decades. However, there's a big problem. Actually, mining these minerals is extremely difficult. Greenland has mountainous terrain, almost no infrastructure, no roads connecting most areas, strict environmental regulations. Many environmentalists oppose to mining. So while Greenland's minerals are worth trillions, extracting them might not be economically viable. Interestingly, Trump himself downplayed the minerals. He told reporters, "We need Greenland for national security, not for minerals." But his advisors keep talking about the resources, so it's clearly a factor. Reason 3, Arctic shipping routes. Climate change is melting Arctic ice. This is opening up new shipping routes that could revolutionize global trade. Greenland sits next to 2 potential routes, the Northwest Passage, the Transpolar Sea Route. Ships traveling from Asia to Europe currently go through the Suez Canal, but Arctic routes could cut travel time dramatically. As climate change makes these routes navigable for more months each year, whoever controls Greenland controls access to these valuable shipping lanes. This isn't just about trade, it's about national security. Russia, China, and the U.S. are all competing for dominance in the Arctic. China declared itself a near-Arctic state in 2018 and wants to build a polar Silk Road for Arctic shipping. Russia sees the Arctic as vital to its defense since over a quarter of Russian territory is in the Arctic. America wants to make sure it doesn't lose this competition. Reason 4, the Golden Dome missile defense system. This is perhaps the most futuristic reason, and it shows how Greenland fits into Trump's bigger vision for America's defense. Trump wants to build something called the Golden Dome, a massive missile defense system that would protect the entire United States from any missile attack. The Golden Dome is often compared to Israel's Iron Dome system, which shoots down incoming rockets. But Trump's version would be much bigger, covering the whole country. This multi-billion-dollar project was rolled out in May 2025 and is one of Trump's key defense policies. Here's where Greenland comes in. To make the Golden Dome work, America needs to place missile interceptors as close to Russia as possible. The closer the interceptors are to where enemy missiles launch, the better chance they have of shooting them down. Greenland is perfectly positioned for this. It sits between the U.S. and Russia, making it an ideal location for deploying these advanced defensive weapons. One expert, Clayton Allen from Eurasia Group, explained it clearly. The U.S. needs air defenses deployed closer and closer to Russia to combat next-generation weapons that are not currently defensible with what we have available. Greenland provides that. He added, Trump wants to build a Golden Dome over the U.S. Part of that is going to have to depend on Greenland. Otto Svensson, a former Danish rear admiral, also noted that Greenland would be useful as a staging ground for a greater defensive presence and as a location for U.S. missile interceptors. So the Golden Dome isn't just a defense plan. It's a reason why Trump believes he needs full control over Greenland, not just access through treaties. Trump first talked about buying Greenland during his first presidency in 2019. Everyone thought he was joking. In December 2024, he brought it up again, saying, for purposes of national security and freedom throughout the world, the United States of America feels that the ownership and control of Greenland is an absolute necessity. Then, on January 3, 2026, U.S. forces launched an audacious military operation in Venezuela, removing President Nicolas Maduro. This showed Trump was willing to use military force. The very next day, Trump said, we need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. Vice President J.D. Vance visited Greenland in March 2025. He said it was the policy of the United States to see changes to Greenland's Danish leadership. On January 18, 2026, Trump escalated even further. He threatened to impose 10% tariffs on several European countries unless they agreed to let America purchase Greenland. He said the tariffs would increase to 25% in June. Trump wrote on Truth Social, we have subsidized Denmark and all of the countries of the European Union for many years. Now, after centuries, it is time for Denmark to give back. World peace is at stake. The White House confirmed they're considering using the U.S. military to take Greenland. This is shocking. Denmark is a founding member of NATO. Using military force against a NATO ally would destroy the alliance that has kept peace in Europe for 77 years. So how do the people of Greenland feel about all this? They're furious. About 85% of Greenlanders are against becoming part of the United States, according to polls. A CNN poll also found that 75% of Americans oppose trying to take control of Greenland. On January 17, 2026, about 5,000 people protested in Nuuk. That's almost 10% of Greenland's entire population. They carried signs saying, Yankee go home, and Greenland is already great. Thousands more protested in Denmark. Greenland's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen said, when the President of the United States speaks of needing Greenland and links us to Venezuela and military intervention, it is not just wrong, it is disrespectful. A Greenlandic filmmaker named Inuk Silas Huog said Trump's demands represent a total show of disrespect. Greenland's Minister for Business and Resources, Nadja Nathanielsen, said the 56,000 residents are so worried they're having trouble sleeping. Denmark has also been clear. Greenland never has been for sale and never will be for sale, said Aja Chemnitz, one of Greenland's representatives in Denmark's parliament. European leaders united to condemn Trump. 8 countries, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, and the UK, issued a joint statement saying tariff threats undermine transatlantic relations and risk a dangerous downward spiral. Some European countries sent military personnel to Greenland for joint exercises with Denmark as a show of support. Trump wants Greenland for 4 main reasons: strategic military position, rare earth minerals, control of Arctic shipping routes, and building the Golden Dome missile defense system. But here's the irony. America already has military access to Greenland through existing treaties. Trump doesn't need to buy it to achieve his security goals. Experts estimate Greenland could cost up to $700 billion, almost 85% of America's entire defense budget. And that's if Denmark would even sell, which they won't. Legally, Denmark might not even be able to sell Greenland because of the island's self-governance. Since 2009, Greenlanders have had the right to hold a referendum on full independence. Trump told the New York Times that owning Greenland is psychologically needed for success. When asked if this was psychological for him personally or for America, he said, "Psychologically important for me." So we're watching a crisis unfold where the most powerful country in the world is threatening military action against a NATO ally, because one man feels it's psychologically important to own an island. The question now is, how far will Trump actually go? Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think about this situation, and subscribe for more deep dives into global politics.